He mentions body count really quick. Do you guys think body count should matter?
No.
Shouldn't matter?
Mm-mm.
Would you take issue if a guy, he wanted a girl with a low body count? Would you take issue with that?
I mean, maybe that's not the right girl for him.
Yeah, okay.
If someone, I don't know, because then it starts to feel like controlling of like, I don't want you to have like, just meet people where they're at. If you love this person, you don't care about how many people they've slept with.
Well, for example, let's say a guy found out that you had 20 sexual partners and he's like, hey, that's too much for me, not interested.
Then he's not my person. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can go.
Okay, but you wouldn't have an issue with a guy that being a standard for a guy?
I wouldn't date him if that was his standard.
Sure,
Even if
but
I've only slept with one person. I think that's gross for him to put that on me of like, you need to be like this to fit into what I want. Like,
so you think it's gross if a guy has a preference for a woman with a low body count?
Yeah, I do.
Why?
Because that's none of your fucking business.
Why not?
Because it's my body. It's my life. And if you don't want to date someone like I don't know, like do your own thing. And if that's who you're seeking, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But I just like, I don't need anyone else telling me how to be than myself.
Well, I mean, he can't tell you really to do anything because you've already accrued said
That we're not
past sexual partners.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd find it gross if a guy was like, oh, I don't want to date a woman who's promiscuous or had a promiscuous past or who has a high body count.
I guess, yeah.
Would you find it gross if a woman didn't want to date a guy who was a player and had a high body count?
It's weird because like that I kind of understand.
Oh.
So maybe it's a double, but I mean, I don't know. I think it's because for so many years there's been put of this really like negative energy about women being comfortable with their sexual energy and like having a lot of sexual partners. And maybe I'm just like pissed about that. So that's
pissed about what?
I'm pissed about how there's been a lot of negative energy about women expressing their sexual energy with having a lot of partners. And that I think is clouding my viewpoint of a man wanting a woman with a low body count. So it might not even be about the man. I'm just pissed about like for so many years women have been getting crapped on for having many partners when it's not that way with guys. So I don't know.
Well, so you're saying that it's what was the term you used? A woman's sexual energy?
Yeah, when a woman gets in touch with her sexual energy by like
gets in touch with her sexual energy by fucking
Sure.
couldn't the woman get in
yeah, you know what,
wait, couldn't the woman get in touch with her sexual energy by having sex with one partner that they love?
Absolutely, yeah, because with any woman, like it was a very like broad getting in touch with her sexual energy, because I feel like that should be applauded. When a woman chooses to do whatever she wants with herself, that's great, whether it's like with herself, with a man, or a woman, with many men. Like that's what my broad thing was about, like a woman getting in touch with her sexual energy, because it's so stomped on with a lot of people. That's all.
So we should applaud promiscuity.
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I'm just asking.
No, and I get it. I get the debate. I don't know. And that's why I say of like, maybe this is just coming from me of like so many years, and even maybe my personal experience too is like seeping out. So I'm projecting mine of the way I was raised was you don't have sex, and I wasn't taught about sex. I wasn't taught about like how to deal with my fucking body. And it wasn't applauded at all. And so, fuck my points. So when I say applauding it, like I don't know if I'm saying you should go out and sleep with everyone, but you should do whatever you want to do. I'm applauding women to do whatever they want to do. I'm applauding them to get in touch with their sexual energy and see wherever that leads them. That's what I'm applauding.
Don't you think that there's something more noble than doing what you want to do? For example, doing what you ought to do, or doing what is the right thing to do.
The right thing to do is a personal preference to everyone, and what you ought to do, what you like you should do this. I don't care.
Let me ask you a question. If Carmela, for example, who's your friend for almost 5 years now. If she wanted to tattoo the whites of her eyeballs, she wants to do it, would you encourage her to do it? Or would you try to counsel her to say, hey, maybe this tattooing the whites of your eyeballs, people are going to judge you for it. It might have some health consequences. Would you try to advise her away from doing that? Or would you say, you know what, girl, you do it?
I think with anything that's going to be permanent on your body, of course, we're going to talk about it. It's going to be a counsel. And I would say, think about it for a while. But at the end of the day, if she wants to do that, it's in her control.
Okay. Well, it's a different example, but I would, if one of my male friends approached me and said, Brian, I'm thinking of having the whites of my eyes tattooed, I would say, you're a fucking idiot. Don't do that. And I mean, it's dangerous. It's bad for your health. And there's going to be social ramifications. Mm-hmm. It's going to be harder for you to find a future partner if you have the whites of your eyes tattooed black, for example, or some fucking other bullshit color.
I completely agree. Completely agree.
So similarly, if someone is promiscuous, if they have a high body count, there are certain health ramifications. It might be harder to find a partner if you have a high body count, if you are promiscuous.
And?
Well, my position is that promiscuity is not desired, is not desirable.
Okay. And if I'm living my life just to be desirable, am I really living it for my own happiness?
Well, I mean,
I'm not saying for you to go and like sleep with everyone. And I know there are, especially now, there are like health risks, and I respect that. All I'm saying is I just like, there's so many people that get shut down with like following what makes them happy. And again, this could be me projecting, because for so much of my life, like I'm trying to see, like, I know there's a lot of point of views, and maybe I'm coming from one that's clouded. Mm-hmm. But
are women really happy getting ran through though? Does that really make women happy?
That's not what I mean, like if you're choosing the sexual partner, if you are like enjoying and choosing these interactions, and each of them is like helping you grow and like understanding more about yourself and your like that's cool.
Does having sex with a total stranger and never talking to them help someone grow?
Well, I don't think I'm using that as an example. I don't think I'm saying that in each one of these, they're going to be a complete stranger and you're not talking to them again. So I didn't say that.
But we are, okay, in order for someone to have a high body count, in order for someone to be promiscuous, so there's some degree of casual sex occurring.
Yeah, maybe, but who knows? Like, don't put a blanket statement on, like, if someone's promiscuous and they have a high body count, each and every single one of those interactions was lifeless and a stranger. Like, you don't fucking know that.
Does anyone else want to come in?
I have a question.
Sure.
What would you do?
What do you mean? What
would you do if you really liked someone, a girl?
Yeah.
And she found out that you had 50.
She slept with 50 men before
No,
me?
You slept with 50 women.
Sure.
She found out. And then she's like, you know what? I'm not really interested because I just don't think you're worth it.
Totally fine. I don't have a double standard on this. If a woman looks at a guy and she's like, this guy used to be a player, or he is a player, he's promiscuous, he's slept with a lot of women, and she decides for herself, I don't want to partner with that guy, totally fine. Now, do I think it happens to be the case that women tend to care less about a man's past promiscuity? Yeah, some women do care about it, but overwhelmingly, I think women care far less about it than men. And I think that's where we get into the sort of debate over body count, is women, generally speaking, care far less about it than men do.
True.
Because you ask most women, like, well, we can ask you guys, would you guys date a guy who's a virgin?
Yeah, I would.
Think about what kind of man would be a virgin. So you're 25, you're 32, you're 23, and you're 29, if I remember correctly. Think of a guy your age who's still a virgin. Now, he could be a religious guy, but you gonna sleep with a guy who's a virgin? You could. I could be wrong. But
There's nothing wrong.
let me put. Do you think the sex would be good with a guy who's a virgin?
I've dated a guy who was a virgin.
How was it?
I mean, we would do most things. We just wouldn't do the actual thing.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was a short time, but
Word. I gotta get through the soup chats. Then we're gonna wrap up, guys.